What's up, y'all? It's your boy Niner Faithful. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone is having a legendary week. I got Jason waiting in the green room. We're going to go ahead and go over the Niners 30-30 visits and some private, semi-private workouts and, start to really prep for the draft here in a couple weeks. What, next week will be the last week before the show because we're not doing draft week. We'll be doing our show. I believe it'll be Friday will be the third round. So we'll be going on air on Friday. But before we get started with all that, we of course got to remind you to help out Niner Faithful Radio by using our shop49ers.com affiliate link. Description is in the description of the podcast or video. Go ahead and use the promo code Niner Faithful Radio to save on all your theater, concert, and sporting event tickets, as well as help out the show. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr at Niner Faithful Radio and Twitter at Niner Faithful R. To see everywhere you can. Oh, wow, that totally messed it up. To see everywhere you can subscribe to the show, go ahead and visit NinerFaithfulRadio.com/subscribe. And of course, stay tuned to the end of the show for a special 10% coupon code for all season 2 for the Faithful by the Faithful apparel. Ladies and gentlemen, faithful of all ages, let's get the show cracking.
Rice has just set a Super Bowl record with 12 catches. He's in motion. Montana, touchdown, John Taylor.
What's cracking, Jason? How you doing, bro?
Hola, bicholas. How's it going, brother?
You know, I say it every weekend. Day you wake up a 5-time champion. It's a legendary day.
Indeed.
Anyway, so I actually said that to a customer at work, and they were like, "Huh?" But anyway, so we got some draft preview to get into. But you and I were having a kind of interesting discussion about. Matter of fact, we'll go ahead and pull up that slide first and get into it. Who replaces Robbie Gould? Because
You want me to bring that one up?
I think that the assumption, like I told you off air, the assumption has been that Robbie Gould's just dying to play football this year and he's not okay with retiring. Because obviously we discussed it. Any team that's not Chicago, that's not a serious contender, isn't going to be in Robbie Gould's services. You don't sign Robbie Gould if you're going to go 6-11. You know, you're not signing Robbie Gould.
Robbie Gould's not going there.
Yeah, Robbie Gould's not going there. So obviously you got, Jake Mooney, Andrews Carlson, and Chad Ryland. Personally, if you put a gun in my head, I would say Mooney, just because you got the cold weather factor there, and
Well, remember, to go on with that, they've actually worked out all three of these guys.
yeah.
And they had another guy, Chris Dunn from NC State, who they actually interviewed. He was one of their people that they got an interview with at the combine. So they're looking. They are definitely looking.
Well, I say this all the time, and having lived through the original contract they were brought in and being in year one of the extension that they signed, before the Super Bowl, we're competent. So the competent thing is you do not have, besides Gonzalez, you don't have a kicker on the roster. And so it would be incompetent not to be working out kickers, and because you have to go with the sub. You know what they say about assuming, makes an ass out of you and me.
Yep.
But
every time
we're assuming that they've told Robbie Gould their hard stance. I mean, it's too far into the offseason to not told Robbie, hey, this is our final contract offer. You want it? Come talk to us. If not, nice knowing you, Robbie. Thank you for your services. Which is funny because when John Lynch spoke at the, I want to say it was the owner meeting or the call or the call. I believe it was the owners meetings. He spoke and he said thank you and said a little piece to each player that we lost a free agent, and he didn't mention Robbie Gould.
Yeah.
And I think that we're all, because there hasn't been leaks, assumed that relationships have all been, on the up and up between the front office and players. Especially we've always looked at John Lynch as a player's GM because he was a player, and so that's kind of John Lynch's appeal is, hey, I'm gonna be able to, but Robbie, let's not pretend Robbie hasn't been a prima donna since he's been here, right? Can we all admit that? Love him. No kicker I'd rather have in the league right now, lining up for a championship or a playoff
I don't know
kick.
if I call him a prima donna.
Well, not a prima donna, but
I mean, he's just been open. He's like, look, I don't necessarily, not that he doesn't want to be here, but he misses his family. So
yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily that he is a prima donna. He's just open about it. Like, yeah, I'm playing football away from my family for 6+ months a year. I miss him. I don't, I think that's just what it comes down to with him.
And I'm not mad. And let's be real. The only thing that motivates Robbie Gould is the championship. Because at this point, what else are you kicking for, Robbie?
Yeah.
I'm
one
pretty
last
sure.
big contract.
Okay, but if you miss your family that bad, if you miss your family that bad, and clearly the Bears are not going to sign you.
What is the Bears kicker?
Because to me, what I was trying to articulate when we were having our off-air discussion is that it's pretty deep into free agency, and I haven't heard teams pounding down Robbie Gould's door.
No.
So to me, it almost seems like the Niners are the only one.
Carlos Santos. The name is not ringing a bell. Let's see what some kind of stats he's got.
I'm not even going to attempt to pretend I'm up to date on NFL kicker.
Yeah, no, seriously. Let's see, career.
Which goes to show you how good Robbie Gould's been is the fact that I haven't even looked at kickers since really 2017.
Damn, he's a pretty damn good kicker from last year. He went from 30 to 39, 7-7, 40 to 49, 6-7, 50 to 59, 4 out of 5. No attempts at 60 plus. Yeah, he made 21 field goals, 23 field goal attempts at a 91.3 average. Fuck. No, Robbie ain't going to the Bears.
Yeah, Robbie ain't going to the Bears. So, where is he? So, because you and I were discussing, and we'll wrap up after kickers after this, but we were discussing that Robbie's not going anywhere that's the Chiefs. I could lightweight see him going to the Lions. I could lightweight see it because they're a trendy pick. And I think if they could get off to a hot start, there's the Lions might make a little bit of noise. I haven't looked at their schedule.
Close enough to home.
Close enough to home. Obviously, still in the Midwest, it was shit in the same division. Would be going to Chicago.
Yep.
I don't believe we go to Chicago this year.
Mm.
So, and would be playing the Bears as well. So he playing the Bears twice a year. So yeah, ultimately, there's not a serious. The Chiefs aren't looking for a kicker. Obviously we are, but I'm just the Bengals aren't looking for a kicker.
Seattle maybe. Seattle always has issues with kickers.
Maybe.
I mean, you're just as far away kind of thing, but they're always
I'll
looking
believe
for kickers.
That. I'll believe that them going to Robbie saying, "Hey, Robbie, we were a playoff team last year." And let's be real, you could argue if they maybe had gotten the Cry Girls, or maybe they had gotten the Buccaneers instead of us. They might have maybe they win a playoff game. I think it's ultimately we were just a way better football team than them last year. And if anything has been proven, you gotta be a damn good quarterback to beat this football team.
And Gino's not going to have the same kind of year.
No, he's not.
He started out blazing, but his last 8 games were absolutely terrible, and they fell back down to reality real quick. So I don't expect that.
So, let's be real. What were the quarterbacks that we lost to last year? Justin Fields in a monsoon game. So let's be real. That game was ultimately decided by that Dante Pettis touchdown. Because if we would have gotten a touchdown like that from Ray McLeod or something like that, we would have won that ball game.
Yeah, maybe Danny Gray catches. Our fourth.
Danny Gray or something like that.
Yeah, that was just. That's a toss-up at that game, man.
Okay. Patrick Mahomes, I heard he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's all right. He's only had 2 Super Bowls before the age of 27. Not bad.
Jalen Hurts, which, by the way, we put an asterisk on that game.
But Jalen Hurts did play good that game. For what it was,
he did.
For what,
he did play well.
He did play good.
Russell Wilson, which, fine, you got to put an asterisk at it because Russell Wilson clearly wasn't Russell Wilson in that game. I was there. He wasn't Russell Wilson in that game. He wasn't Russell Wilson last season.
Yeah.
So my point about this is
last year.
You got to be a pretty damn good. So I can see them going to Robbie, Seattle. Were we talking about hairline?
I don't. Did you see the post that I put up of the Trey Lance?
Okay, so I have seen. Hold on, let me go ahead and officially seen it because I think I know the one everybody's talking about. Hold on, the page.
Come on, Berto. That hair is bad, man. I don't know what anybody's telling him, but if I was his friend, I'm like, dude, just shave your head or go to a barber and do something, man. Because I am not letting.
Damn.
I'm not letting one of my friends walk around looking like that because he looks terrible.
That's bad, bruh.
It is terrible.
That's pretty bad.
Like I'll be like if I come down there again and you're looking rough like that, I'm gonna pull you aside like, look, man, we need to go take you to the barber.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, Trey, seriously?
I expect one of my friends to do that to me too.
Same barber. I've been cutting the same barber's been cutting my hair since I was 16. He's cut for the Niners. He used to cut in the Niners locker room. He's cut Ronnie Lott's hair. He's cut Garrison Hurst's hair. He's cut plenty of Niners hair. Come to my boy Magic. He's on the corner of Bascom and San Carlos in San Jose. Bruh, he will make you look right. Uncle Magic, there's nobody else I trust to touch my hair. He does my beard. He does my hair. My girl be bitching because my beard gets all wild and everything. He's like, he won't touch it. It's like sacrilegious to him. He won't touch his hair. He'll only let you do it. And he's like, yeah, that's because it's my job, not his. You know what I'm saying? But like, Uncle got a little territorial with the idea of me cutting my own beard.
People were getting mad at me for posting. Like, why are you making fun? I'm like, well, look at him. If it was another guy, I'd make fun of him too. I don't give a damn who he is.
Yeah. That's bad. I mean, it's that's rough.
A rough look, man.
Especially for how young he is, bro. I mean, look, I'm not one to talk. You feel me? I'm receding a little bit. You know, y'all can't really tell because of my hair, the way my hairline is. But so look, we're not sitting here trying to be the tea kettle calling. I mean, I got missing 2 teeth. I mean, you know, we're not trying to make fun of a man, but I'm also 37 years old. You know.
Yeah, I'm not young and rich. If I'm young and rich, I'm going to be looking good as a motherfucker.
I mean, especially look, I think that I don't want to be so conservative and so back in my day, but I think there's a certain type of look you got to have to be a franchise quarterback. Like you kind of just like all eyes, when you are the franchise quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, all eyes are going to be on you. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Especially when you're the 3rd overall pick. So,
I mean, maybe he gets it fixed before camp. You know, maybe that's just his off-season look and he's letting it go.
Let's be real. He was working out.
Yeah.
And, I mean, whatever. But to me, it's just for marketability purposes. You know, you want to keep getting those go commercials with Jerry. I mean,
look at Jerry. Jerry be looking good.
I mean,
Jerry's to the 9s all the time.
Was religious about you look good, you play good. There is nobody more immaculate before a game than Jerry Rice. and he's
I don't know. I think Dion would have
NFL's
gone. Dion gave him the run. Dion was pretty good with his too. But yeah,
but Dion
both.
more flashy.
Yeah.
See, I love Dion because Dion just would write checks to the NFL and be like, "I'm going to do what I want. Here you go."
Yeah.
Like that's
I'm
just
wearing the wrong socks. I'm
G
gonna
move
put this
ever.
one with this one. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, G move ever. But no, I'm just saying, if Jerry Rice, greatest football player to ever put on pads, looked immaculate before every game, I'm just saying that's how I would be. So ultimately, do they draft a kicker, Jason, or does Robbie resign? And then we'll move on.
I say we draft a kicker in the 6th round.
Yeah,
6th round is what I'm saying.
yeah. And you let him battle it out in camp?
Yep,
And
let
then
him
Robbie-
and Gonzalez go at it and see, best man win. Because a lot of times 6th round you're just drafted for practice squad type backup for the most part anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, let him have it. Especially if you get somebody, if you get one of these 3 guys or Dunn from NC State or even the guy from Ohio and Illinois, the guy from Illinois is also pretty good. You get any of those guys, more than likely, if you've got no money guaranteed to Gonzalez, you just let him go. And even at that one, you're going to have to make sure Gonzalez is far above the better kicker in order to keep him on the active list.
He was signed as an insurance policy.
Yeah, he's the backup to the backup plan, I believe. I believe first is they're wanting Robbie to go or to sign back. Then they're going to draft somebody. And if for some reason he can beat out that draft pick, then he's the one that they're going with.
All right. Ultimately, I think Robbie resigns. I think it gets delayed. I think it's a subject to the offseason, especially with dead time. It'll be a subject. You can only put out final 53-man predictions and roster breakdown so many weeks in a row. I mean, there's been years we've done draft review for like 4 weeks. God, that was dark times. Those were dark times. Anyway, multiple times a week. Woo! Anyway,
good old Twitch days.
Good old Twitch days. But so yeah, I think but you've got to have a kicker on practice squad or something this year.
Okay.
Because to me, this draft is all about. I was thinking about this at work today, and it was coming to what are the Niners' needs, right? Like what do we come out saying? What do we want from this draft? And I can't think, because let's be real, we're not going to be high enough realistically. I mean, sure, diamond in the rough and lightning in a bottle, whatever cliche you want, but we're not getting a starting right tackle out of this draft, at least for this year, plug and play. Maybe somebody that could develop into one, sure, that's possible, but not a plug and play right tackle. That's literally the only starter we're not bringing back from last year. Of course, with questions as far as at quarterback, whether it's Trey, Brock, obviously Sam Darnold would be a new starter, but if Sam Darnold's the starter, that's bad news for Brock and that's bad news for Trey.
I wouldn't say it's bad news for Brock because Brock's not
as far as injury concerned.
Well, he won't be ready to go. Trey,
you don't think he'll be ready for week 1?
No, he's not going to be ready for week 1. I don't think he'll be fully ready October. Unless he has some miraculous recovery, he's not going to be 100%. I mean, he's going to be cleared to just start throwing realistically, 2 weeks before camp? And then we're talking about, getting his arm strength.
Right.
So we had issues last season with Trey and his arm strength. And now we're going to be talking about Brock's arm strength coming straight into camp.
And we don't even know what it looks like.
Exactly. He's not going to be ready week 1.
We all want to be positive, but one of the knocks on Brock Purdy, at least as far as draft was concerned, was his arm strength.
Yeah, he was never the strongest arm guy.
And that's fine. He proved last year that you don't need the strongest arm in the world.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we saw Nick Mullins, and clearly in 2020, I'll never forget that pick against the Cry Girls. You know, where it was like clearly Nick just didn't have the arm strength to get it there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just you don't have the arm strength to make that throw. And that's what I'm scared of Brock. Now, fine, maybe Kyle can piece some things together and he's still talented enough where, hey, we don't need deep outs. You know, that's not a serious part of this offense. You know, we've seen a functional
That's what
offense.
CMC is for.
Well, let's be real. CMC and Debo. Let's be real. We've seen. I mean, look at this offense with Jimmy. It was basically middle of the field.
Yeah, I mean,
and running game. So you can't tell me that Brock can't get that.
Yeah.
You know, so we can't win with that. So I'm not saying it's over, but if Sam Darnold's the starter for significant time of this year, that is not good for Brock Purdy, and that is damn sure not good for Trey Lance.
If Darnold starts the year as a starter, I don't think Trey's on the team. Which again, I don't. At that point, you've destroyed that kid's confidence. If you're going to put Sam Darnold above him, unless there's some injury or whatever kind of thing, which at that point, yeah, I guess his confidence is still destroyed. But if you're having, what's up, my man? So yeah, I mean, if for some reason they just flat out start Darnold over Trey, he will not be on this team.
Do you think he gets traded? Draft. The draft.
Do I want him traded? No, I still have faith in Trey. The rumors out there that they'll take a second and a fourth for him. And if someone's going to offer a second and a fourth, I can't argue with it.
I mean, in this year's draft,
yeah.
I mean, we don't have a second and a fourth. Because then if you tell me you can get a second and fourth and you pair a third or do some things, you might be able to move up higher the second round or, you know, maybe trading some, you know, we might be able to get a starting right tackle.
Yeah.
You feel me?
But I just don't see it.
See, to me, I'm not saying that I don't want him traded. Now, obviously, you give me a second and fourth. Sorry, Trey, love you. But, you know.
Yeah.
To me, it's you have to see what he has because I forget who it was I was listening to, but they said that we are operating on the fact that Trey Lance hasn't gotten better. And why don't we speak? Well, I know we didn't plan for this, and I don't want to dive too deep into it, especially since we're in a pre-draft show right now, and we'll have plenty of time. But his throwing mechanic, the release and everything like that looks different. He's cleaned it up.
Does it? I mean, we saw one pass in slow motion,
and there's been another one.
Oh, is there? I only saw the one in slow motion. I'm like, you're not seeing shit with that.
So fine, but that's all we got to go off of. And I'm not saying that. Oh my God, oh boy, look out for Trey. No, I'm not trying to overhype one offseason video. Because let's be real, if it didn't look clean, they wouldn't have put it out. Right? If he looked horrible at that throw, you're not because show me that's clearly not the only throw he showed me in that practice session. So show me 10 throws. You know, show me 10 throws or an amount where I could judge a practice.
At least it was a spiral.
I mean, they clearly picked the best throw.
Yeah, but I'm saying
right.
One of his biggest issues was throwing that type of spiral ball, and I mean the one he threw looked damn good, but I mean, like you said, they probably handpicked that one.
Oh, of course they did. Of course, if they did it, he should fire his team immediately. Like that's not looking out for you. So, not even just for Niners' sake, but for the NFL, for other teams' sake as well.
Yeah.
Because Trey has to now operate. Trey Lance himself has to now operate that he's not the Niners franchise quarterback. They've come out and said on record that everything created equal and in a perfect scenario, he would not be the starter for this football team.
They've said it would be Brock's team right now, just based on play, which I think is the right call.
And it is. You can't argue with that. You can't because you know this isn't a league that's built on hopes and dreams. We're not a football team that can be built on hope. And see, that's the thing about it is somebody argued and they're like, what is your argument with Trey Lance? What are you? Oh, it was Haberman and Middlecoff. What are you standing? Because the people who are saying he's done or trade him or whatever, at least have, now mind it, a small sample, but at least have a sample to go off of. To say, look, it has not looked that great more times than not. You know, the people who what are they standing on? That Trey Lance is the one on hope.
Yeah,
and unfortunately for Trey Lance, we are not a franchise that can rely on hope when we've seen somebody that's done it. It'd be different if we haven't seen anybody that done it. Of course, you go with hope.
Yeah,
but we've seen Brock, and I'm sorry, this fan base, the players, the front office, and the coaching staff definitely don't believe that we would have had a shot in that game with a healthy Brock Purdy. I bet you the players and the coaching staff believe that, and probably the front office believe they would have won. I believe they would have won.
It definitely would have been a better game than the blowout it ended up being. I mean, you know what I mean? That's a very...
Yeah. Let's be real. It was over, what, the sixth play of the game?
More, yeah, pretty much.
Ultimately, really, when I felt that it was ultimately looking back in hindsight where I truly felt that game was over, I mean, let's be real. Our championship hopes were dashed, you know, when Brock went down. It wasn't about winning the Super Bowl at that point. It was about winning that individual game. And to me, what really made me feel is when we came back and fumbled the first thing in the first series in the second half.
Yeah, because we had something then. Like, you know what I mean? Like where we ended the quarter or the half, we had a little bit of something.
Yeah, a little bit of, and to me, it's look, you get the ball back. CMC, Debo, CMC. You know, right? Let's be real. That would have been the offensive game plan. Sprinkle in a little bit of George Kittle, a little Juwan Jennings. You know, that would have been the game plan, but would have still had done it. I believe we, especially get a defensive turnover, something.
Yeah.
A scoop and score, a pick six, or essential pick. Like, okay, you ran the ball to the 3-yard line and we score the next play. Like that essentially is a defensive touchdown. You never know.
Momentum changing kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you put the pressure on them. You know, because the pressure was on the Eagles that game, because ultimately what I really felt and why I got so pissed about Kyle not challenging that play, because ultimately the easiest way for the Niners to win that game was to get the Philly crowd to turn on Philly. And all of a sudden you're up 10-0, 14-0, you know, halfway through the first quarter, halfway through the second quarter, the Bluebirds are coming out.
Yeah.
And all the pressure goes on the Eagles. They hadn't been there before. We have. You know, that was my thing about it is cool. If the game goes their way and everything's smooth sailing, which ultimately it was, you know, yeah, that favored them. But if that got rocky or they got down by multiple scores or whatever to a football team that's been there and done that, and you haven't, yeah, that's advantage Niners. I still think this year, given the same game and the same scenario, us in Philadelphia, I still say, and we're playing the same way, maybe not necessarily on a 12-game winning streak, but playing hot football. Yeah.
I take my chances.
Yeah, I like my chances. Anyway, next slide, Jason.
All right. So let me pull
we spent a lot of time on kickers and Trey.
All right. So at the scouting combine, because I had to go all the way back to the beginning of this. So this is what we got. These are the players that the 49ers talked to, and you were allowed, I think it's 35. And so these are all the guys that were brought up, and the Niners did talk
to. So the tight end, Jason, I let you handle those names.
Latu?
From Alabama. Yeah.
Latu.
Latu. I like him because ultimately you would ask me, pie in the sky scenario, what do I want out of this draft? Right tackle. You know, but pie in the sky scenario. Um, what would be a sneaky thing that I'd be very happy to get? A second tight end.
It's not a bad draft for tight ends.
And that's why. Because ultimately, as much as we loved George Kittle, you and I both will run through a wall for the man. You know, I will stand on the table that George Kittle should have his number retired. Get a championship or two. Which I ultimately think we will win one with George Kittle. Um, I think we're just too talented, and Kansas City can't go to the Super Bowl every year. So
Well, at least they did meet with a couple of tight ends.
and then that's what I'm saying. So you got what? Davis Allen for Clemson. Um, Meeting with the center, I like. Because
Yeah.
ultimately what I really, really, really want, I would love left tackle and center, which left tackle has been stable. But we all know, the Trent situation, which we win the Super Bowl this year.
He's out.
He's retiring.
Yeah.
Right? Right. I think that's had to be discussed when he signed this contract. Is look, I win a championship and if it would have been the first year, I would have accepted he was still played. But from last year till the end of this deal, when he wins the championship, he's hanging them up. So I really want a center. Because there wasn't now I don't remember it being an issue, quarterback to center exchange really ever really under Shanahan. But a nice young center is really what I'm looking at. So you tell me you got 11 picks. Give me a center that we could develop, which I know we have some centers on the roster that we're looking to develop, but never can have too many offensive linemen. Do not draft a running back. I just saw Sean Tucker from Syracuse. And I'm like,
there's a couple on there.
I'm just
would it surprise you? Would it really?
No.
Because the rumor is Elijah Mitchell is also possibly up for being traded. So I mean, if we were to get something for Elijah Mitchell and draft another
would check out next Matt Breida.
Yep. One of the guys I like on here, speaking of tight ends, was going to be Sam Laporta, tight end from Iowa. Can we go down this road again? I think
Kittle's going to stand on the table for him.
Yeah. He's a better catcher, a receiver, than Kittle was coming out of college. Probably not as good of a blocker, but would be a good compliment to what George does.
And I'm okay. I'm okay because, Jason, I have to ask you this question. And this gets back to even the kicker question. Is that clearly we were scoring enough points? How critical was Robbie Gould last year? Minus playoffs. I mean, he's critical, but if you said in the ideal world, do you think obviously Kyle would really want kicker to matter that much because you're scoring touchdowns? Let's be real. Why has Robbie Gould been so critical under the Kyle Shanahan era? It's because we can't score in the red zone.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes. Besides when Brock started those games, we were, scoring 33 points a game.
So, ideally, you say, look, we take a tick in red zone production, which CMC is going to help. Kittle had a fine touchdown year last year, career high in touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk leading the team in touchdowns, which a lot of those weren't. You got Jawan Jennings, and then you add a second tight end who you say, hey, he won't give me as much in the blocking game, but you can add more as a catch threat in the red zone. Yeah. I'm okay with that because, to me, if you tell me Mike McGlinchey or Colton McKivitz is a better run blocker than Mike McGlinchey, I'm okay with that because is this team going to transition to less run heavy?
I think it depends on the quarterback. If
Well,
it's
yeah,
Trey, I still
obviously.
think we go to a more heavier run. But if it's someone like
Yeah, yeah.
Darnold or Brock, we probably go to more of a Jimmy G style short passing game kind of style of offense. That basically was what Brock ran for the most part.
I'd like to hold on. Let me see where he was. I know Brian Young from Tennessee. I know a
Yep,
lot of
he is
people
high
are big
on a
on
lot
him.
of people's boards right now.
He's one. There was
Riley
one
Ross
Dave
with
Lombardi.
Iowa.
There was one Dave Lombardi. Hold on, let me see if I can find him. I
Well,
think
let's
he
go
was
to the
from
next one. There's
Alabama.
also
Yeah, go ahead.
these are the guys that they've talked to over the phone and then done virtual interviews with so far. So look, we've got another tight end, Jack Kuntz or Nuts,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. Couple of safeties, cornerbacks, linebackers.
Shout out to CG Ruthless. He has a breakdown interview with him.
With who?
My bad. Go ahead, bro. The one from Old Dominion.
Oh, Jack Nuts. Kuntz,
Yeah, he just sent it to me.
Okay, nice.
He just sent it to me. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yep. And then we have the guys that they've actually did in-person meets with.
There you go. The D tackle. Or
Yep,
no.
Yaya Davi.
Yeah, I think that was it. Because I heard he's DND tackle. Heard he's DND tackle. And with that,
good DJ Jones style player.
Replacement for Eric Armstead.
Yep.
I mean, we can't keep paying
Eric Byron Young.
I mean, to me, I think that why not both? I said, why not both? Because to me, if you said we take 7 picks this year, okay, assuming we're going to trade some, I don't think we're going to take 11 players in this year's draft. And you told me you took 2 cracks at safety, 2 cracks at tight end, and 2 D linemen, and throw in a right tackle or a guard or
some sort of lineman in general.
Some sort of lineman in general. Maybe a quarterback if you take 8. I'd be okay, because to me, this is about depth. This is about the future. The 2023 draft, to me, isn't about starters. Because really, what starting place is available right now on this football team that a 4th, 5th round pick is going to compete for? Maybe a 3rd round. But no rookie's really going to come in and compete for serious for a starting role on this team.
Unless someone shows up like Buford did, no.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, is that someone would have to have a camp like that for us to, be thinking like, oh, wait a minute, so maybe this guy starts over, McKivitz, or maybe, Gibson. I don't think anybody in here is going to be able to start over him right now, but I'm just saying, who's the 3rd linebacker going to be? Martin Mapu he is amazing sideline to sideline. He's got good size. Who's the other guy?
Elam
Manning, Elam Manning, yeah. These guys are good side to side, Fred Warner styles of players. They're just good side to sideline to sideline.
I love the fact that we're looking at safety.
Yeah.
I really do, because I love Talanoa Hufanga. I do. But I need to see it this year. Before I start to really start to say, okay, this team doesn't need to start adding competition at safety. And let's be real, Gibson's retiring after this year.
Or if he takes another huge deal with someone, someone at his age, I don't think he's going to get it. But if someone wants to throw him like a 3-year deal for whatever money to make him like a top 5,
you can't deny it.
Yeah, it's like, bye. You've earned it.
Yeah.
He came out of nowhere last year.
I mean, lightweight saved the season.
I mean, honestly, you can
Low-key saved the season. Yeah. He saved the season in the sense of by his play alone, right? I believe he was the second ranked safety as far as completion percentage last year.
I think he was at
Allowed.
least minimum top 3. I think he was 2, but minimum top 3.
I know he was. It was some passing category. He was 2. So his play alone obviously elevated us to the number 1 defense last year, and also allowed Talanoa Hufanga. So think about that. He affected 2 positions last year
3.
for a late before camp, like barely before camp signing, to come in and affect that much. 2 positions on the team.
3.
Yeah.
Both safeties, and it let Jimmy Ward play nickel.
Yes.
So
Yes.
technically it was 3. So I mean, because in Jimmy Ward, I know he wants to play safety so bad. But
Let's
it's like,
be
dude,
real.
you are a damn good nickel. You could arguably say you're a top 5 nickel in the league. Stay there. That is a money, position these days. Because most teams are going to be playing nickel more, 60-ish% of the time,
70.
if not more. Yeah. So I mean, why not be a top 3 nickel and get paid for that? But
I mean, safeties make more money. But
yeah, but if you're a top tier nickel, though,
there you go. To me, if Tashawn Gibson didn't play the way he did last year, Jimmy Ward's still on this team.
yeah, for sure.
So he essentially allowed us to get rid of let walk in free agency, the longest tenured Niner. That's how well he played last year. That's not a fluke. So I don't need 11 players this draft. I'm not looking for
Backups.
quantity. I'm looking for quality. Give me a legit second tight end, and obviously that we're gonna take some D linemen, and you always ask, is it gonna surprise me? No. Look, I'm not opposed to taking a running back in the 5th round or later.
You just know we're going to. It's just this is the way.
Yeah, which is fine because I'm okay with that. But I don't need our 2nd or 3rd pick to be a fucking running back. And let's be real. Next year, probably ain't even going to be on the team.
Yeah, the way things go around here.
At least to me, I'd rather draft a kicker at that point.
Yeah, if between the two,
and
give me a
just say
kicker.
you're going to waste a pick. And just
give
say
me the
whatever,
kicker.
Robbie came back. Or whatever. Because at least then you're addressing a need.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be surprised if all of a sudden they come up in this 3rd round, running back, whatever. I'd be like, what the actual fuck are we doing? Unless someone like a top 4 running back drops all the way down, which probably won't happen. But even then, I'd be like, why? Why are we taking this when we have other needs that need to be addressed?
Yeah, I mean, cool, awesome. If you tell me you have the best running back, available in the draft on a rookie deal, and especially when that we're just going to recycle him in 5 years when they become too expensive, okay, cool. But are they going to be that much more productive? Keyword productive than some undrafted free agent that we've taken?
Yeah. You're going to have to beat out time between CMC, Elijah Mitchell, Jordan Mason. You know what I mean? Are you really
doesn't get traded?
I'm sorry.
I said assuming Elijah doesn't get traded.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if we don't move away from him, are you going to take away time from those 3, if not those 2? Do you want your 3rd string running back?
And then what are you doing with Jordan Mason and TDP?
Yeah, and then TDP. Completely forgot about him in that whole situation.
Yeah, so it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling because to me, if Joe Williams, if Trey Sermon, if TDP, if one of these running backs worked out, I'd be okay with it. But the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and expecting different results.
Yeah.
We've done the same thing over and over, and we've gotten the same results. That's what's frustrating me so much. You literally got one of the best players in the league, one of the best players on your roster in the 3rd round. One of the best pick in franchise history was taken in the 3rd round. Think about that. Joe Montana was drafted in the 3rd round. Frank Gore. Charles Haley, I believe, was the 2nd round. But maybe Charles Haley.
You have a long list of great first-round draft picks.
We do. I mean, well, okay, so what? Ronnie, Jerry were first rounders. BY.
Yeah, but we're talking about what, handful at most?
Yeah, but I mean, Jerry Rice as a first.
Well, I'm not saying that we haven't hit on some of them, but I'm just saying. But then again, how often are we needing to draft that high to get somebody?
Exactly. That's my thing about it is. So over the course of the Niners, since the dynasty, is it the Niners haven't hit on draft picks, or have they gotten the 30th, 32nd, 12, 19, when have we? That's why it was so important for Nick Bosa to hit.
Yeah.
Because ideally, you're not picking, number 2 pretty much ever again.
I don't want to be picking number 2 that often. It was worth it for that 1 year of complete agony was worth it, but I don't want to be doing that for the next decade or so.
Yeah, no. As long as Nick Bosa's on this roster, I don't think I want to pick number 2.
Yeah.
And I think that so next one, or
that was all of them.
That was all of them. Yep. So ultimately, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Final thoughts, Jason?
I think we've said a couple times, both of us, that with this draft, we're not looking for starters for the most part. We're looking for backups and people to develop over the next 2 or 3 years as some of these guys start to get a little bit more expensive to keep. So that's mostly what this draft, top to bottom as far as the roster goes, starters wise. We're easily a top 5 team, if not arguably the best team in the league. But the downfall of this team over and over again has been injuries, and we've gotten some damn good backups to play good ball at times. And so that's why it's so important to hit on all of these late end round picks that we're getting. And this is going to be another year where we're going to have to, we're going to pick those, 4th, 5th, 6th rounders kind of thing that are probably going to end up spending some good time, amount of time playing this season.
What excites me about this is that I think this might be the Niners formula going forward. Now, obviously, you're eventually going to want some number 1 picks. You're going to need to get some top tier talent on cheap contracts. That's just what you're going to have to do to sustain this thing. But I'm excited in the sense that if you told me the Niners formula was, hey, we hit on late round picks, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, et cetera, DJ Jones. Because to me, did a player get a second contract on the Niners? It is a spectrum, because you have the Javon Kinlaws, you have the Mike McGlincheys, and then you have the DJ Jones type of players, which DJ clearly was a hit as a 5th round pick, or 6th round pick, 5th or 6th round pick. He just got too expensive for us. Somebody was willing to pay him more than we can afford. So
good on you for being that good.
Hey, I love DJ. His dad messaged us and said he really appreciated how we supported his son. And I said, man, your son's a baller. This is his going into his 2nd year. I said, man, I expect your son to really legitimately push for a starting role this year. And honestly, I think DJ Jones is one of the low-key injuries that happened to cost us the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I really do. I think DJ getting hurt in New Orleans really, really ultimately not cost us the season, but was definitely a factor into it.
It slowed it down a little bit with that rotation.
Yeah. Because I think what people don't forget is it's not just who are you going to replace, it's the cascading effect. Everybody's got to play more snaps now. Because you're
not playing 10 a game, now you're playing 20. You're doubling it.
Your relief now becomes, your starters, your backups to your 3rd string now become your 2nd string. So everybody plays snaps. Yeah. Because ultimately you could have players. I mean, I've seen players that can ball out for 10 snaps a series,
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, brother. But yeah, I'm excited because if you told me you're going to trade 1st, 2nd rounds, 2nd, 3rd rounds for CMC and all those type of players, and rely on where, let's be real, majority of the bulk of this roster has hit as far as the draft in the later rounds, I think I'm excited because I think that formula is going to work, and I think we're going to build something sustainable here, Jason, for the foreseeable future.
I will say that for the draft, when we're actually on the clock, obviously with the first round on Thursday night, neither of us are going to be on. I'll have things ready to go in case he comes up. But for sure, I'll be on at least throughout the entire draft on Friday. I'll be home and I'll have it up, watching it and stuff like that. So
Friday,
I'm not sure
second
if anybody
and
else
third.
is going to pop. Yeah, second and third.
Okay.
So if anybody, I'm not sure if like you're going to pop in, Jamie, Brian. If anybody else wants to pop in, that's in. But I will be on for the entire second and third round on third.
What time does it start Friday?
4:00. This year it's 4:00. It's 4 or 5, but I think it's 4.
We might not be home, but when I get home, I'll probably hop on.
Yeah, like I said, I'll definitely be on.
So we'll have you hop on, do your thing and everything, and as soon as I get home and settled, I'll go hop in and yeah. All right, bro. Well then, we'll go ahead and oh, by the way,
next week PFF will do drafts.
PFF will do drafts. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about next week. I'm going to try to get our special guest on. He hasn't hit me up, so I'm going to reach out to him again and say, "Hey, bro, this Tuesday is ideally when we want you on, because I believe, because next week's the 18th. So yeah, next week will be our last show before the draft. So I'm excited. We're almost here. Yeah. All right, brother. We'll see you next week.
Deuces.
All right. Thanks, Jason, for coming on. We'll go ahead and get everybody out of here. But before we do, we, of course, want to remind everybody to use our shop49ers.com affiliate link. Link will be in the description of this podcast and video. Go ahead and go to SeatGiant.com. Use the promo code Niner Faithful Radio to save on all your theater, concert, and sporting event tickets, as well as help out the show. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr at Niner Faithful Radio, and on Twitter at Niner Faithful R. To see everywhere you can subscribe to the show, go ahead and visit NinerFaithfulRadio.com/subscribe. And for your 10% coupon code for all season 2 for the Faithful by the Faithful apparel, it is the New Hope. So go ahead and use that for your 10% off of For the Faithful by the Faithful apparel. We shall see y'all next week. Till then, faith, love, and happiness. Go Niners.
Rice has just set a Super Bowl record with 12 catches. He's in motion. Montana. Touchdown, John Taylor.
See ya. Where's the dude? They took away the ed button.